Fair, John Dvorak back in studio. You know what, John? I'm going to miss these weekly programs, but I suppose there's always next year.
That's right. There's always next year, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was always something that I looked forward to coming in each week and highlighting different aspects of the fair and promoting the fair, and so yeah, it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment on Tuesday mornings. I won't have some place to be at 9:30.
Well, my body's still adjusting after the week of the Rice County Fair. I still can kind of feel the effects of it. Wow.
Wow, I tell you, it was brutal. But what do you do? I mean, we had everything in place for a good fair. I felt. I thought the fairgrounds was set up really nice. The fairgrounds looked great. But Mother Nature shows us what Mother Nature can do, and I was unless we put a bubble over the whole fairground.
Yeah, and you know what? I've had some indoor farm shows. You figure you're fine. Those are in the winter, and you can still end up with a snowstorm and nobody can get there. So it's part of what we deal with.
That's right. It's just part of the game, and you just hope next year that you have better weather and people will show up. And it's not that people didn't show up. I mean, it was brutal.
I think it did affect the crowds. There's
no doubt about it. It did affect the crowds, and but we did have some diehard people come out there. We had some people, said, "Hey, you know what? It's going to take more than this to keep me away." I appreciate those people, and the evenings when they cooled down, the crowds did pick up. So we were fortunate for that.
And we had a pretty nice Saturday afternoon
yes.
After the rain, and then Sunday was a beautiful day.
Sunday was a beautiful day.
And you were disturbing the peace with the demolition derby.
And we disturbed it. That turned out really well. So, it was just unfortunate that we missed one of our other big events that we have at the fair, the truck and tractor pull. But the decision had to be made early on because number one, you have all these trucks that are coming over pulling these tractors in their trucks. You have to have a place to put them, and there would have been no way that we could have even thought about getting them into
the infield.
Infield. I mean, they just would have sunk out of sight. And number two, it takes a lot of work to get that track ready.
And time, and we didn't have any.
That's right. And for people that don't know this, but Jack Hillmeyer, he spends better part of a day running up and down that pulling track, working it up with a disc to get it, to level out, number one, and number two, to kind of dry it out so then he can pack it right. There's a lot of work that goes into that, and that was just unable to happen.
I know Saturday morning I was at the 4-H livestock auction and it started raining, and it rained, and it rained, and finally about a half hour later it dawned on me, oh no, the truck and tractor pull tonight.
Yeah. We were fortunate though. We were fortunate. We missed that second wave of rain that was supposed to have been coming in. And when I was following it on the radar, I mean, if it would have hit us, I mean, it was nasty looking coming in on the radar. And then all of a sudden it just kind of skirted around us. So, which made for a pleasant Saturday evening. So, we'll chalk it up to Mother Nature showing us who's boss once again. And we move on and we start planning for next year, and we'll have just as good a fair next year or even better fair next year. So
and I remember it was 4, 5, 6 years ago, it was so horribly hot like this, and
it was horribly hot, and we've always had hot weather. It seems like if there's going to be hot weather at a county fair, it's always at the Rice County Fair. The other thing about years past, though, is we'd have 1 or 2 days of the hot weather, and then that would be it. This started and it didn't stop.
Yep, it was Wednesday, Thursday, a little bit better Friday, finally nice by Saturday. Anyway, well, let's continue with today's Final Fair Talk 2016 with John Dvorak, the Executive Secretary of the Rice County Fair. John, before the break we were talking about how disappointing it was that we had to cancel the truck and tractor pull, but there was one big event at the fair Saturday afternoon that just got postponed a bit.
Yeah, I did. It got postponed a little bit. Kind of wishing that it would have probably gotten postponed altogether.
I've got a couple big black and blue spots to show for it too.
Well, I to be honest with you, I'm a little bit sore yet this morning.
Well, let us explain. Jerry and John and a number of other willing participants rode the mechanical bull Saturday afternoon. Boy, we had a big crowd there that wanted to watch.
We do, but you know, I just got to say one thing first, though. It had to have been the hot weather because I really wasn't thinking right when I took that. So I'm going to attribute that one to the hot weather because I couldn't have been thinking right to challenge you to that bull riding. But it was fun, wasn't it? Like you said, you know, we had a large crowd there. I don't know if they were cheering to see who could stay on the bull the longest or cheering to watch me fall off.
Well, now let's explain this just a little bit more. Riding the mechanical bull, I was thinking, well, what can go wrong? I mean, you get thrown off, you're going to end up on an air mattress, you aren't going to get hitting the hard ground, you aren't going to get trampled or gored, you know, what can go wrong? Yeah, I got a couple black and blue spots to show for that, but it was fun. Now let the record show, I think I made it like about 5 seconds, and John, you made it something like 16?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but see, it was fixed because John used his position of power and authority, and he told the guys with the mechanical bull, by the way, those guys were great fun and played along with it. But anyway, he said, you better let me win, otherwise you can't come back to the fair next year. I did hear that's what happened.
No, that's just rumors. That didn't happen. But I will admit that I didn't want to make a fool out of myself, so I did go there Friday night when I thought nobody was looking, and I just practiced getting on and off the bull because I...
well, that's a feat in and of itself because
right.
It's way up there, so you have to kind of start jumping up and down on the end.
He says, take 2 bounces, and on the 3rd bounce, jump over the bull. I had visions of that not working out so good. So I did practice getting on and off the bull.
Well, now also, in case you would like to see it if you weren't there, apparently there are a couple people involved with the fair who have something to get even with John about because Tara Van Tolme, the first attendant, Rice County Fair Queen, she videoed it on my cell phone. So apparently she wanted to get even. Maybe she wanted to get even with me.
Maybe.
I didn't trip her or step on her formal when I escorted her.
Well,
so it must be you.
I guess, but it's on there.
Yeah. Well, and then also my website, Tara Langevin, of course, helps out the fair with all the websites and everything. Well, she adopted me on our website, so it's Tara Langevin with Faribault Insurance is responsible for this being up on her website. So apparently she would like to get even with John too.
Well, there's always next year.
That's right.
And paybacks are tough sometimes.
You know what I always say? Never get mad, just get even.
That's right. That's exactly right. So, but you know what? It was in good fun and it was in good spirits.
And that's what the county fairs are all about.
That's right. And you know, there was at least 20 minutes of hard belly laughing. I mean, it was deep laughing.
And so anyway, here in just a little while, go on our website, kdhlradio.com, and you'll see the post up there. You click on that, and you can watch John and Jerry and a number of other people that decided that they wanted to give it a try. So
I have to give them credit. You know, we had our fair queens, and they did it. You know, the fair royalty did it.
And the past fair queen, Brianna Bussard,
yes, she did it. And we had our Rice County Dairy Princess.
Yeah, Emily Tripschka was on there.
And there was a number
Fritz
of other people.
Dubon, I think, even showed us up.
Yeah. So there was one guy from the radio station that got on there, and
yeah, that was Jamie.
Yeah, and
it wasn't John Anderson. Don't worry, John Anderson. He said he had to go home early.
Yeah. Yeah. You know. Yeah. But I rumors have it that he was peeking behind one of the buildings, laughing at us. Yeah. But I think that guy that your Jamie, I think I can't say for this, but for sure. But I think he's done it before.
Yeah, man, definitely. He practiced even more than just getting up on.
I mean, he made it look easy.
But he's a lot younger than you and I.
True.
Too.
A lot, you know. So it's funny because I caught my wife up after we decided to do this, and I told her what I was going to do, and the first things that came out of her mouth was, "John, you know you're 60 years old already, right?"
Well, it was nice that she had your whole family there to say their goodbyes before.
That's right.
So the mechanical bull will be back next year, and we're going to do it again.
Well, that's right. we'll do it again. And
the way I looked at it too, riding the mechanical bull was a lot safer than wild cow milking, bungee jumping, or alligator wrestling. So, see, I'm starting to act my age.
you are,
too.
you are. So, and let's just hope that next year you and I are able to do this again. So.
Yeah, well, one thing that didn't work out for me very well, you heard the rumor about the expensive cherry pie?
No.
Yeah, it was at the Rice County 4-H livestock auction. I wanted a pie. Well, a certain county commissioner called Jeff Dockin was bidding against me.
Is that right?
Good thing it goes for a great cause. I paid $170 for a cherry pie.
Wow.
And did I share a piece with you?
No.
No. You know what happened to that pie?
Somebody took it?
Kind of. And he had a badge and a gun.
Oh, it was Troy.
Yep. Well, here's what happened. Shortly thereafter, the 4-H auction at 1 o'clock was the best pie in Rice County contest, of which you know I am one of the official judges.
Yep.
Yeah, just want to point that out. Well, a couple of years ago, I entered the contest. I went out to the grocery store and bought a half an apple pie. Kathy Camp disqualified me.
Okay.
So I thought, I'm going to get Kathy this year. She cannot disqualify a homemade cherry pie. So I bought the pie, and then I was going to go over and enter the Rice County 4-H in the pie contest.
Okay.
See?
Yeah. You had good intentions in mind.
Yeah, I just didn't realize when I went over to pick it up that it was a homemade cherry pie, frozen.
Frozen.
Oh, well, so much for that plan. So my plan B was I gave it to Troy Dunn with a lot of witnesses, and he promised to take it home and bake it, and he was going to bring it back to the office and share it with all the deputies that did such a great job keeping us all in line at the Rice County Fair. So technically I did give it to someone with a badge and a gun.
So, and did the deputies thank you?
Yes, they did, even though they weren't completely convinced it was going to get back to the office, but we will find out.
Well, you know, if it would have been on Friday, you could have set it on the sidewalk,
Yeah,
and it would have probably baked.
Yes, I could have. Good guy.
So.
Hold on a second. I have to pick this up. Kitty Hill Studios. This is Jerry. Oh, hold on, Troy. Hold on. Speaking as someone with a badge and a gun, guess who's on the line? Good morning, Troy.
Good morning, Jerry. I'm just calling to let you know I did bake the pie, and we had it as our last meal at the fair after the demo derby, and there wasn't a morsel left.
You mean you didn't share a piece for John then?
No, I didn't save a piece for John or you, and I figured if I had some crumbs left, I would leave them on your step, but there wasn't a crumb left. So.
Well, Troy, you know, it's a great thing. I'm glad you did that. I'm glad that you were able to treat the deputies with that, and you know, I'm just thankful that everything you do for the fair, and you know, we have a great working relationship, and you know, thank you for everything you do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the support. It's great working with everybody down there.
Well, and the other thing that was so nice is that people, I just see them walking up, whether it was the Faribault Police Department or some of Troy's crews, and saying thank you for everything you do here. So I think that was kind of nice too, wasn't it, Troy, to get the feeling that we support what you guys do, the difficult job that you do?
It means a lot to the officers to hear that. I hear that a lot, but for the officers to hear it one-on-one, you know, except through me, you know, I think it means a lot more to them. So thank you very much, Jerry, and I'll take back all those mean things I say about you being a cheap person and not spending any of your money on good things. So thank you.
Well, the other thing is I didn't technically spend all my money because it was for a good cause. It's a tax deduction, and the Rice County 4-H is going to benefit.
All right. Well, great. Thanks again for listening.
And before you go, Troy, make sure you say what a nice neighbor I am. Say, by the way, speaking of lawns, it sure was nice here a day or two ago to see you out mowing your lawn. When he was on crutches, he was kind of a timid guy. He was riding. But a day or two ago, you were walking again behind the lawnmower, Troy.
Yeah, they gave me the green light, so they're pushing it now, so I think I'm almost over the hill here at the recovery of my leg injury. So yeah, it felt good to push the board here.
But the thing he hasn't quite figured out is where his property ends and mine starts. You know, it's right next to my garage, Troy, where my property starts, in case you missed that.
I'm just a few feet off that. Don't worry, I'll make that adjustment.
Thanks, Troy. Oh, wasn't that nice?
Yeah.
You know what, that's what's neat too. You can laugh and have fun and be involved in the community. I'll tell you that whether it's the Faribault Police Department or the Sheriff's Department, they are really involved in our communities.
They are, and you know, I'm glad to say, you know, I think pretty much everything went off at the fair without a hitch. I don't think we had a call on the Sheriff's Department once with the hot weather. I only know of 2 incidences where people suffered from, I don't know if it was heat exhaustion or they just got overcome by heat. The one was actually there was 3. One was a carnival employee that was setting up on Monday that kind of got drained. One of our vendors, a person working the fry, was on the verge of coming down with heat exhaustion, so he was tended to, and I think there was just one other person in the fair itself that had to be tended to. So you know, I give a lot of credit. I called up one of my board members just one morning and I said, you know, we really got to figure out a way that we could devise a sprinkler system quick so we can get it up today. And so several board members, they got to put their heads together and they came up with a plan. I don't know if everybody has seen it, but it was on our website. But we did have a sprinkler system,
and more than one.
And more. Well, the carnival had some themselves also.
Yeah. I saw those umbrellas with misters.
And so our big mister was kind of just off to the west of the 4-H building, right in the main walkway. And I want to say that was one of the most popular sites on the fairground. So, you know, we were doing everything we could to keep people cool, and I really think that helped. And you know, all the vendors were selling water. People were coming into the fairs prepared for the weather.
You could see them have those water jug holders on their belt. And
yep, or they were carrying a bottle of water, or they had some type of water container that they kept putting water in, and they were hydrated. Culligan was giving out free water. So you know, everybody that came to the fair was well prepared, and it went to show that you know, we went out without incident, and people wanted to enjoy the fair, and they figured, you know what, we're not going to let Mother Nature stop us from coming to the Rice County Fair.
Because we're from Minnesota. We know how to deal with those sorts of things.
Well, and we're from Rice County too, and so we're pretty tough here in Rice County, and pretty resilient, and people wanted to come out to the fair. And like I said, you know, a lot of comments is, you know, we're not going to let the weather stop us from coming to this fair, and we heard that not only from people around here, but people from out of town.
The other nice thing too is I saw Troy with those 4-wheelers, so someone did need to get to maybe the air-conditioned office. You know, it was easy to make a call, and they could either get a ride or you could lie down on the back. I mean, they had everything
So we were prepared for that, and then, like I said, you know, we did have an individual that had a 6-passenger golf cart and was offering rides to people from the parking lot into the fair. So, and then they would take them back again. So, you know, we tried helping out as much as we could, and hopefully, you know, people appreciate the efforts that we put into it.
Along with the Executive Secretary of the Rice County Fair, John Dvorak, now I have to tell my story about how I got Marcia. See, earlier in the week, I noticed those nice 4-wheelers that the Rice County Sheriff's Department had. Well, one of them was sitting there right by their command center idling, and it occurred to me, gee, maybe I should take that for a ride. Well, it may have been born at night, but it wasn't last night, so I thought better of that idea. Well, about the next day, I came out to the fair and got directed by the very efficient parking crew to park, and ended up parking right next to the main gate off to the south on the grass. So I was going to have to walk all the way back to our booth. Well, guess who was at the front gate checking up on the parking attendants at the front gate? There was Marcia in her golf cart. So I had a bright idea. I walked over, plopped down in Marcia's golf cart, and started driving it away. Oh, if I would have had a cell phone handy to take a picture of the expression on Marcia's face when she saw her golf cart leaving her.
Well, Jerry, I'm just going to forewarn you. I know Marcia, and I've known Marcia for a long time. Next year, beware.
You want to know? Here's a classic. You're aware of karma. What goes around comes around. Well, isn't this fitting? I saw this when I parked, and I was so excited. I couldn't get there fast enough to get it before she came back from the golf cart. So I drove a little ways away. Then I went back to get her, of course, and then she did, being a nice person that she is, give me a ride all the way to my booth.
She did.
Yeah. And then she took off. I reached down my pocket and I'd forgotten my money in the car for lunch, so I had to walk all the way back to get my car and then walk all the way back. So isn't there some justice in this world?
Yeah, and all the time while she was giving you that ride, I'm sure it was spinning around in her mind what she's going to do to you next year.
Because next year is another time. Speaking of next year, here's a way that you could improve the Rice County Fair. Yeah, that parking pass that you get, Jerry, it should be a privileged one so I can park where the Fair Board members park, right next to the exhibit building. You want to work on that for next year?
Well, I got a couple of things in mind working on that. And by the way, the Fair Board members are instructed that they're supposed to park way in the back and leave the closer spots for the public. So you're welcome to one of them spots. Another thing what I was thinking about doing, I'm going to put this in my notes, is maybe we need to have an auction and we designate one parking spot, and whoever pays the highest price for that spot for the week, it's theirs for the week of the fair. So maybe next year we might have some kind of a little auction and
oh, when I drop things off, sometimes Louise at work, there's a spot right up front that says reserved for Employee of the Month. You could be the privileged parking person at the Rice County Fair.
That's right. So we'll have to figure something like that out for next year.
Yeah, we got a lot of time to plan. Although quickly, you guys already started evaluating. Other than change of weather, you're still going to look at how you can tweak things. So
we'll still look how we're going to tweak things. I will say that I already have the White Sidewalls booked. We booked them after they were done performing, so they're going to be here again next year, July 20th, which is Thursday. They're going to be performing again, and in the back of my mind, we're going to be what worked, what didn't work, and who wants to come back. And I just really think that we'll have an even bigger and better fair next year, and hopefully the weather cooperates. And I just want to take this time to thank you, Jerry, and thank you, John. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I look forward, hopefully, being back again next year, and we can do this again. Our breakfast with the 3 J's, I think, turned out real well. We had a lot of fun with that. Hopefully we got some of the people enthused to come to the fair, and next year's another year, and we'll be back.
All right, thanks, John.
Thank you, Jerry.
John Dvorak for the Rice County Fair.